Affirm, I deserve to be here. I contribute to this space. God let me here with my heart and my gifts for a purpose. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about imposter syndrome and Saturn. A lot of us might be feeling this. I certainly have, along my journey. Imposter syndrome is a really debilitating mindset to have that, doesn't matter what external validation we're getting or what kind of praise we're getting for the skills and talents that we have. Somehow we feel like we don't belong, or we're not supposed to be in that space, or we're not good enough. All these self-limiting beliefs that ultimately lead us to not going for what we want. We exile ourselves from communities and groups because we feel like we don't fit in, or we're not telling ourselves we don't belong in a space because we doubt ourselves and our abilities. Why is this?
Why? Tell them that is human nature.
Why do we do this? Everybody and their mama, you could get all the likes in the world, or people can comment to you and say, oh my God, you've inspired me, etc., etc. You're so good, why don't you pursue this? And you'll sit there and be like,
I shouldn't be here. I really shouldn't be here. I'm not good enough.
Well, let me tell you something. When it comes to knowledge or talent, everybody has access. The planet that makes you feel separate or fearful or doubtful is the planet Saturn. Big Daddy Saturn. He doesn't really play with games. He's the planet that we all, in our horoscope, the planet that shows us where we're going to master and where will we it's Mercury retrograde. Saturn in our horoscope shows where we become masters over time. But Saturn also rules over fear. Saturn shows authorities, elderly people. So us who are suffering with imposter syndrome in any area of life, we look at these people who have served their time and are masters in the craft that we wish to pursue and look and be like, oh, I'm not that, so I must not be able to be in this space. When this is really detrimental to our well-being and the experiences we deserve to have, why are we denying ourselves of even taking the time to become of that status, become a master? According to Rex E. Bill's Book of Rulership, I'll link that below, Neptune also rules fear as well. And Neptune is the modern ruler of the sign Pisces, which is the natural ruler of the 12th house. So we're over here comparing ourselves to other people's journeys, how long they've studied, what credentials they have, the power that they have over other people, the influence, the impact, etc., etc. So then we see them and then we deny ourselves experiences, but we fail to realize by holding ourselves back in whatever space that we enjoy or we have talent in, sitting in this imposter syndrome irrationally, we are denying ourselves of getting better and becoming masters. We're denying ourselves of practicing. We're denying ourselves of receiving and integrating praise. So we surrender to the planet Saturn, sitting in those limiting beliefs and fears, and then we end up undoing ourselves. We end up dissolving all that we've worked on, all of our desires prematurely, prematurely before we've even given ourselves a fair chance. So now we're undoing ourselves in the 12th house, isolated. We're the only ones feeling this way about our talent, our gift, our knowledge, etc. And the 12th house is the house of self-sacrificing. So you're sacrificing yourself and your contribution just to be safe or not step on anybody's toes. Our skills and our talents are our courage. It brings us confidence. So our skills and our desires are formed in the karma houses of desire, communication, connection. These are houses 3, 7, and 11. These are naturally air houses, having to do with intellect and knowledge and connecting and knowing how to use these gifts that you have to propel you up into your desires. So we see how our childhood experiences and skills that we've developed from young in the 3rd house, and the way we relate to others, 7th house, bring us ultimately to our goals and desires and fulfillment of our wishes in the 11th house. In Vedic astrology, the 3rd and the 11th houses are part of the Upachaya houses. These houses are called the growth houses. They take the planets there, or even just the themes regarding those houses, take some time to develop. They don't happen overnight. A lot of people aren't just born being that. They just develop over time. Sometimes you're introduced to something later and you're like, oh, that's why I used to like that back in my childhood, so I could do this. And then now it all makes sense because I'm here right now and I have these skills.
And I know what I'm doing and I know what I like.
So they're growth houses. Me, like I said, getting better with time. But what rules time? Saturn. And the final Upachaya house is the 11th house. Aquarius is the 11th sign. So let me tie this all back into what I'm saying about the 12th house. So after our desires are fulfilled in our Kama houses. So in Vedic astrology, there's Dharma houses, Artha houses, Kama houses, and Moksha houses. Same with the signs. In the first house, we get our identity. In 159, it's Dharma, it's purpose, it's what our duty is. The 2nd, 6th, and 10th house, those are the Artha houses, getting our security, stability, material wealth. So after you develop this worth, this sense of security, you're able to fulfill some desires and connect with others. Now in the 3rd, 7th, and 11th houses, these air houses, you're connecting with other people, you're showing other people. And then in the 4th, 8th, and 12th houses, these are the Moksha houses, where we get spiritual liberation, where we dissolve and purify and start a new cycle. So now that I've explained that, I can get back to what I was saying about the 12th house. So after we fulfilled our desires in the 3, 7, and 11th houses, we're going into moksha. We're liberating, we're purifying. However, people with impostor syndrome jump into dissolving themselves before they even get to reap the benefits of the skills that they have. So why do we do this to ourselves? Why do we jump into the 12th house and undo ourselves and sit in doubt and fear? You know, I felt imposter syndrome studying Vedic astrology and providing readings and interpretations because I'm like, I don't know as much as a lot of people. There's so much to Vedic astrology, so much you can learn, lots of books and ancient texts that you should read and things like that. And I'm like, oh, I don't know this much. Maybe I shouldn't be speaking about it. But no, that's not true. You get experience along the way. And some people, you know, they feel the same way about other things like singing, dancing, acting, whatever the case may be. They're like, oh, I didn't go to Juilliard, so I can't do that. Like I don't have the credentials. I didn't study music, so I can't be a musician. But I often find, and it rings true for myself too, is that we just have a huge respect for the craft. Of course, there's times when you shouldn't be speaking on something you don't know about, because then that's when you literally become an imposter. It's important that when you're speaking about things and you don't know something, say you don't know. You don't pretend that you do know. You don't pretend to act like you know everything. Just be confident about what you do know. Be confident about what you can provide and the insights and interpretations you can provide. And don't promise people something that you can't. Not every person in the world knows every single thing about the subject they're in. Doctors are still learning and finding discoveries, researchers, etc. They don't know everything. And that's okay. That's okay. But that 12th house, jumping into that 12th house before you reap the fruits of your actual desires, come on, man. Don't do that to yourself. Let's not play ourselves now. Your contribution is important. You know, what you have to say is of value, and it offers a different perspective than what anyone else is talking about. Even if it doesn't, even if what you're talking about has already been talked about, it's okay to talk about it through your lens and through your perspective. That's necessary. Some people are like, oh, there's so much on this subject already, or oh, they've already danced to this music already, or oh, they've already covered this song, or whatever the case may be. It's okay. There's nothing new under the sun. It's okay that you show your interpretation, you give the basics, even though there's basics online. What you provide is important. So I've noticed that people with Saturn in the 12th house tend to live this life with no fear, and they kind of have a lot of conviction and sense of direction off jump. They literally can't jump in the 12th house and like undo themselves and be fearful all the time, because Saturn, the planet of blockages and limitations, is literally there. Like you couldn't. It's like you try to jump into smoke, you try to go. They're like, no, can't do that. I have a duty. I'm just gonna be what I'm doing, do what I'm doing. Some 12th house natives include Beyonce. Ever since she was a child, she kind of knew what she wanted, but she's also a Purva Falguni sun. And I noticed with those people, they tend to know what they want to do from a young age as well, but that's another video. Tobey Maguire, Saturn in the 12th house. He was Spider-Man. Speaks for itself. SZA SZA has Saturn in the 12th house, and she makes her music. She don't care what anyone's talking about her singing in italics. She's gonna keep making her music, and it's gonna pop, and people are gonna fucks with it. Robert De Niro, Saturn in the 12th house. He believed in Martin Scorsese's vision. He believed in, when they first came out, he was down to be his muse and down to be in all of his films. Like, he believed that he ain't had no fear. He plays a bunch of different roles and not having fear either. He's gonna do what he wants to do, period. Scarlett Johansson. I don't really know too many movies she's been in, but I know she has Saturn in the 12th house, and she was the Black Widow in the Avengers. Not afraid to put herself on the line. That character wasn't afraid to do anything. Ready to fight, ready to go. Squaring up with the Hulk. Angelina Jolie, Saturn in the 12th house. Lara Croft, Tomb Raider. She's raiding tombs. She's raiding tombs. You gotta be some type of crazy to be doing that for fun and for free or for whatever. I don't remember. And obviously the whole chart matters. You know, it's not gonna, every person with Saturn in the 12th house isn't going to have any fears. And these people obviously are human, so they're gonna have their own fears and doubts as well. I've also noticed, off the top of my head, that people who have placements within the Gandanta nakshatras, not even just those degrees, the Gandanta degrees, but the nakshatras that lead us to Gandanta points. Gandanta means a knot, so it's a spiritual knot that's ending of a cycle and beginning of a new cycle from water to fire signs. So the Gandanta nakshatras are Revati, Ashwini, Ashlesha, Maga, and from Jeshta to Mula. So I noticed these people also don't have a lot of fear in them because they're perpetuating a new cycle. They're like, okay, I'm ready to jump in. I'm ready to be this. I'm ready to turn it on, turn it off. I know what I must do. They kind of have this sense. And even the nakshatras that are opposite Gandanta points, which are all Martian nakshatras, Mrigashira, Chitra, and Dhanishta, those people don't have a lot of fear as well. And the reasoning behind the fearless Martian is because Mars is the warrior. Mars carries out the duties of the sun, and the willpower that lies there allows these natives to conquer and complete any task that they set out to do. Any belief that they have it with conviction, and the vengeance that they can bring in certain situations in regards to their downfall, like Mikashira native Jordan Woods, after the whole scandal where she kissed Chloe's man or something, she still bounced back and her career flourished, especially within the Black community, which is a community she needed to flourish in. Chitra native Amber Rose, always fighting for, you know, women's rights and the fact that men over-sexualize women. And she's just advocating that women are naturally sexy and shouldn't be preyed on just because of their bodies. We also see in the Nisha native Flo Millie shit. Yeah, she is the same way, going after what she wants, very dedicated to her craft, doesn't really care to deal with anyone in her way. So you have the Gandanta and then the Martian nakshatras as well, who I've noticed aren't really fearful, kind of know exactly what they're doing, what they're here to do, believe in their power and their strength. Megan Fox, Ashlesha, she uses her sex appeal, doesn't care about what people think about it to get her to her status, get what she wants. She's lunar, she knows how to reflect the desires of other people. Megan Thee Stallion, Maga, ascended straight to the throne, had some tragedies happen in her life, but she just kept going. She just knew, she didn't have fear, she didn't let anything get her down. Whitney Houston, Revati, Zendaya, that spiritual tie, that spiritual knot within these nakshatras and the Gandanta points, releasing fear and getting ready to start new. Like, what's the next thing? What do I need to get done? Billie Eilish, forgot to mention Mula. Billie Eilish, Billie Eyelashes, came up 17, 15. She already knew the game. She already knew what was coming on. Mula Nakshatra, baby. She got Mula up there above the horizon. She knows what's going on. I also forgot to mention Jeshta Nakshatra. All these niggas wanna fuck JT. Hellcats SRT. But yeah, JT of the City Girls has Jeshta. Very fearless. Went through some backlash because people were calling her ugly, which isn't true, but she still pushed through it all because she has her own sense of identity and is a warrior in that sense. Jeshta's also in the Scorpio Rashi, so there's Martian influence there as well. My advice to you, those with imposter syndrome, the way we remedy this is to strengthen our dharma houses. Strengthen our first house, our identity. Our identity, strengthen that. Strengthen our fifth house, our ability to create, learning more, ninth house, higher knowledge, you know, feeling okay, feeling optimistic, and feeling proud of ourselves. Letting our pride shine through without judgment or fear. Because when you're fearful, it shows. When you're posting and deleting, it shows. When you're looking for instant gratification because you don't want to do the wrong thing, it shows. Don't expose yourself like that. Be confident, you know, you belong in the space. Those affirmations I said at the beginning of the video, you belong there. God led you here. You're not here by accident. It's okay. Like, make sure if you know the basics of something, and if you've gotten great feedback, I'm like, why do you feel like you have to hold yourself back? Stand strong, stand tall. I'm clapping for you, babe. I'm clapping for you. You need to clap for yourself too. And the belief that you have in yourself will in turn inspire others. So stand strong in what you want to do, whatever it is you want to do. Impostor syndrome is peak. 8 of Swords energy. 8 of Swords energy. You know, you feel trapped and blindfolded, but ain't nobody even over there. Ain't nobody even attacking you. Ain't nobody even touching you. The swords aren't even touching you. They're just around you. And swords have to do with the mind, intellects. You're doing this to yourself. You're worrying and placing this doubt on your abilities, on yourself. Now, this is the Jupiter and Gemini card. Feel faith and optimistic about your skills. Untie yourself. Thank you all for watching this video. You know, I've suffered from imposter syndrome. I'm still dealing with it and working on it. So I just wanted to share my thoughts. Yeah, so if you've gotten this far to the video, please like and subscribe, comment, and let me know what you think. I'll see you all